Nearly 80% of people that work with a nutrition coach are doing so to lose fat or to manage their weight, which is a process that is simple in theory but tough to apply. And that's because it's really easy to make some small mistakes that can ruin your fat loss progress. Which is why today I'm going to share with you 8 of the most common ones and what you can do about it to make sure that your effort isn't wasted. Starting with number 1, eating out too much. If you're serious about losing fat and getting leaner, you need to eat more of your own meals prepared by you. It's more work for sure, but it's one of the easiest things you can do to maximize your results. And this is because restaurant and takeout meals aren't made to be calorie friendly. They're made to taste good so you come back because everything tasted so good, which usually means additional calories coming from sauces and from oils in portions that are bigger than normal. And this will creep up on you even if you're diligent about tracking and guesstimating everything that you're eating. So for my fat loss clients, we usually have some general guidelines around eating out. Limit eating out to no more than 1 meal per day in fat loss phases, ideally no more than 2 to 3 times per week. Fat loss is all about compromise, and while you can certainly lose fat while you're eating some restaurant meals, it's just a lot less likely. So for my fat loss clients, we set some guidelines around meals outside of the home, especially if things aren't going as planned. And we're doing some troubleshooting around why the results haven't been as good as they could be. Now, with that being said, the entire food landscape when it comes to takeout meals in restaurants has changed dramatically in the last 10 years. More healthy options, calories, and macros are typically listed or easily searchable, but even still, if fat loss is your primary goal, you should control what matters. Number 2, you're too aggressive. It's only human to want results and to want results yesterday. But when your goal is fat loss, this can easily backfire on you if you get too aggressive, meaning you're going way too low calories too soon. When it comes to fat loss, less isn't always more, and here's why. First off, when you go too low of calories, your body is going to compensate and burn less energy. This isn't starvation mode in the sense that your body is going to decrease your metabolism, but it will fight back by decreasing the amount of spontaneous movement you are doing or the amount of calories that you're burning during exercise, making the aggressive diet less effective. And it usually backfires when you're not mindful of this movement. But there's also the mental aspect as well. When you have less calories to diet on, you're going to be hungrier and you'll have to choose more higher volume, less calorie dense food options. And you'll have more cravings, and all of this will make it tougher to stick to your plan in general. And this is all a recipe for falling off track. So for both of those reasons, being too aggressive without having an exit plan will wreck your fat loss diet. So what do I do with my own clients to make sure that they're on an appropriate plan? We keep their calories as high as possible while losing weight at an acceptable rate. This always gives us a place to go, meaning we can make further drops if things slow down. Plus, it'll make it more likely that they stick to their plan. Next up, we have number 3, swearing off treat foods. One of the biggest mistakes you can make while dieting is avoiding all the foods you enjoy eating, especially foods you would consider non-diet foods. You know, things like ice cream and pizza. Because the more you consider things off limit, the more you're going to want to eat it. And it won't just be eating one slice of pizza. It'll be losing all control and eating an entire pizza, as well as everything else that's in your path. Willpower is very much a finite resource, and when it runs out, you'll be a lot less likely to make good decisions. Plus, there's no reason why you can't eat certain foods and still lose fat. Again, fat loss is all about compromise. You can have it all, you just can't have it all at once. So when it comes to treat foods with my fat loss clients, here's what we do. We try to work in non-diet foods at least 3 to 4 times per week. Not a cheat day or a cheat meal, just something that you can look forward to that'll make it easier to stick to your plan. This helps manage cravings and keep you on track. The key is not going overboard by practicing diligent inclusion of the foods you normally wouldn't eat. That is what's going to help. But here is what else is going to help. Point number 4. Don't make the diet do all of the work. Okay, I'm going to start by saying I have not been the biggest advocate of this in the past, and I think it really set me back. You see, when we compare the effect of diet and the effect of exercise on fat loss, and we consider which one of those is going to do most of the work, it's going to be diet. You can make up a much larger deficit by controlling your food intake than you can by exercising it off. And you can quickly erase any deficit you did make by eating compared to just working it off. Diet is without a doubt the most important. But with that being said, that doesn't mean that just what you eat needs to do all the heavy lifting and exercise can't factor in. And if anything, working up your spontaneous or neat energy expenditure by 1,000 to 2,000 steps per day, giving you the opportunity to eat more food while losing fat, which makes it so much more likely that you'll stick to your plan. So for my fat loss clients now, before we slash calories, here's what we're going to consider. Before you make a calorie drop, consider adding in more steps, somewhere around 1,000 to 2,000 more per day. Add in more movement when possible. This is going to be the secret for long-term success. Okay, before we go any further, if you're looking to take your fat loss results results both for yourself or for your clients to the next level, I want to personally invite you to a completely free webinar I'm putting on for how to set up fat loss plans for your clients. Space is limited for this free learning opportunity, so go to the first link in the description below to sign up and we'll get you locked in. But next up we have point number 5, not accepting compromise. Okay, I'm not going to sugarcoat this one. If you want to lose fat, you're going to have to give something up. And that should excite you because that means getting leaner is possible. Just like I said before, you can have it all, you just can't have it all at once. And this means giving something up, putting yourself through some temporary discomfort just for a period of time in order to get a result. It doesn't mean that you're going to be signing up for this forever, but when you view it as something that you need to do for a period of time to get a result, it makes it much easier to stick to. For example, maybe you realize in order to lose weight, you're going to have to give up going to buffets for a period of time, or you usually eat full fat cheese, and right now that just doesn't fit into your plan. The compromise here is still going out to eat, but managing it in a different way, or still including cheese, but picking a lower fat variety for a period of time, and that is the trade-off. For my fat loss clients, it looks like this: setting up non-negotiables of things you absolutely can't live without, and being okay with excluding the rest for a while. And here's one of the compromises that most people need to make while they're on a fat loss diet. Number 6, drinking alcohol. Let me start off by saying this: I'm pro alcohol in most cases. You can drink it and be healthy, you can still drink it and get leaner, but you do have to be mindful of it because those extra calories do add up. And most importantly, drinking alcohol is going to lower your inhibitions, making it much more likely that you'll eat food you normally wouldn't. So for most of my fat loss clients, here's the solution to alcohol. Limit alcoholic beverages in fat loss phases to a maximum of 2 to 3 drinks per week. Again, nothing serious happens if you do drink alcohol. I think the internet has people convinced right now that it like melts your brain or something. It doesn't, and it doesn't automatically make you gain weight either. And it also doesn't make fat loss impossible, but it is additional calories that you don't really need, and it doesn't really help nutritionally either, so it would be one of the first things that I would avoid in a fat loss phase. This is a big mistake most people are making when it comes to losing fat. Now, if you are going to drink, pick clear spirits when possible, things like light beer and dry wine, and none of those snobby hipster beers that have tons of calories, although they do taste good. Next up, we have other food items that add up fast. Number 7, condiments. Okay, so condiments are tricky because first off, we need to eat food in fat loss phases that taste good. Food is enjoyable and fun, and it doesn't need to be miserable. And sauces and condiments, they're a big part of that. But they also typically contain a lot of extra calories coming from sugar and coming from oil. But you don't need to cut them out entirely, you do need to be mindful of them. When possible, weigh out or ration sauces and spreads so you can control them, and try to pick sauces that have minimal ingredients, mostly spices and low calorie items. Here's the solution here. Be mindful of sauces and condiments because those calories add up. My personal favorites are soy sauce, low fat mayo, grainy mustard, hot sauce, and things like salsa. Now, there isn't any reason why you can't eat ketchup and peanut butter, but they don't go as far, so be mindful of the portions. Speaking of peanut butter, the last fat loss mistake you could be making is this: number 8, health foods. Okay, so we talked about the huge spike in popularity around eating healthy and making better choices. For the most part, this has been helpful, but there's a lot of marketing that goes into this industry. And sometimes foods that are deemed healthy are no more than a marketing gimmick. The exact same food with a new label on it or some marketing spin, making you think you can eat unlimited amounts of it or at least be safe to eat it. Something like a smoothie is a great example of this. Fruit, yogurt, all healthy things are included in a smoothie, but sometimes it's just flat out the portion size of it. And additional higher fat and higher carb ingredients, plus the fact that it's liquid, makes it really easy to down 800 calories of a smoothie without feeling full. It's the same thing with salads. For the longest time, salads were the safe, healthy option. But once you add nuts, seeds, avocado, cheese, and oil, you could be eating a day's worth of fat. That is not going to help you lose fat. So the lesson here is, just because something is marketed as healthy doesn't mean it'll help you lose fat. I've had one client in particular who is so mindful of his intake, making all the right choices and desperately wanting to lose weight, and he just couldn't get that moving. So we reviewed his food log and we found one thing in particular. He had been adding a bunch of almond butter and seeds to his morning shake, all because they were healthy. And of course, yes, they were healthy ingredients, but these contributions made his shake take up nearly half of his daily calories. It was one of the first things we swapped out, and as you can guess, almost immediately he started to drop weight. So that's it, folks. 8 dieting mistakes that could be ruining your fat loss progress. If this is your first time on my channel, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to keep up with what's new in nutrition coaching. And if you're really serious about starting a nutrition coaching business, the next thing I'll have you do is check out this video I've linked up right here. Today we talked all about mistakes. Next up, we're going to talk about foods that you should include on a fat loss diet. So make sure to check it out now, and I'll see you in the next video.